Hi, welcome to another edition of Eastern Express. I'm your host, JT Keith, and today my guest is the chair of the art department, Brad Hammond.
Hi, JT. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for
Good.
being here.
My pleasure.
Now, you've been here, what, 3 years?
Yes, I'm starting my fourth year.
Fourth year. And then tell me how you found out about the position. And
Well, I was back in New York, and I was looking forward to finishing up my master's degree, and I was very anxious to see what was out around the country as far as full-time teaching. I'd been out to New Mexico once in the mid-'90s and loved it.
Okay.
So when I spotted the open position here, I applied for it.
Wow.
And I got invited out for an interview, and the rest is history.
Wow. Now, what did you do before you were in the commercial art field, or?
Yes, for well over 30 years, I had been a freelance illustrator, commercial illustrator. My work had appeared in a lot of major magazines and newspapers and advertising campaigns. And I started teaching part-time in the mid-'90s, and I just liked it so much that eventually I thought it would be a nice idea to see if I could do it full-time.
Wow. Well, Mr. Hammond, you've also helped improve the Chase's newspaper, you and Mr. Dill. Tell us a little bit about how you became involved in that as well.
Well, almost from the day I got here, the Chase caught my interest because I really believe in the importance of a college newspaper. It can really be a place where ideas are exchanged, and it can help give a campus an identity. And as I was proficient in the production end of publications, it just seemed natural that I kind of offer my services to help the staff get a little better at getting the columns straight and the type lined up and the pictures in the right resolution.
Now, as a department chair, what's your goals as far as the faculty you have, and then what you want to convey to your future students or the students you have now?
Well, my faculty is a wonderful mix of professional designers and working photographers and artists. So my job is to help my faculty be the best they can be, get the best support that they can from the university, and translate all that into the student experience.
Okay.
So students are always number one with me.
Sure, sure. And then also, as far as a student, what do you hope to convey to them when they come through your program?
I want them to come into the program and get a real sense of what it takes to be a professional in whatever emphasis area they choose to focus on, whether it be graphic design, animation, or the visual arts, and to be able to leave the university and have a good fighting chance to go out and get employment. So they can actually work in the area that they like.
Sure. And then can you tell me, as far as I'm concerned, a journalist or a PR person, how important it is for them to learn the specifics of InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator? How will that help them going to the future?
Well, I think that, as journalism and broadcast has changed so much, it's almost micromanaged now, so that a journalist can actually produce their own blogs, and they don't need an elaborate production setup around them. And anything that they can learn as far as design skills, how to create a press release, how to produce, even the design skills that we teach them in print can be translated to web, blogs, just that kind of sensitivity, awareness of what looks good, because it's got to be good and it's got to look good.
Okay, great. Yeah. And then a lot of people don't know that you're a marathon runner. That's why I first asked you. Can you tell me a little bit? You've run in some marathons, correct?
I have. Most of them I ran as far back as the 80s and 90s. As I was saying before, I like to think I still have one or two left in me.
Sure.
But I ran my first marathon in 1980. It was the Long Island Marathon. And I ran the New York City Marathon in 1980, and then ran every year from 80 through 88.
Wow.
So it was a nice stretch there. It was almost it was an annual ritual for me. And then I came back and ran it again in 94 and 96.
Wow.
So it's been a while since I finished one, but my wife is also a marathoner, so she's kind of inspiring me to dust off the running shoes and give it one more shot.
Sure. And then you and your wife, Jane,
is
going to be running in a marathon this weekend, correct?
She's going to be running a half marathon. We're going to Albuquerque for the Duke City race series. She'll be doing the half marathon. I'm going to do the 10K.
Okay.
So That's about what I can handle right now.
Okay, 10K?
Yep.
Okay.
That's 6.2 miles, folks.
Okay. Now, how did you get involved in marathon? Was that when you were a student or just started
It
going
was
out one
after I
day?
had graduated from Parsons School of Design, and I didn't. The only thing I participated in as far as school sports was I played football as a high school junior and senior at Stuyvesant High School.
Okay.
But I went to an art school, and we didn't exactly have much in the way of conference teams and university sports. There was some intramural stuff.
Sure.
But I always liked running, and I always had good wind. So a couple of years after we graduated, several friends and I just got involved in some of the races in Central Park. And that was kind of near the beginning of the running boom in the early 80s. And there were races every weekend of different lengths, and we would travel to Central Park almost every weekend. Kept us out of trouble.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people don't know that you ran with Mike Voigt, Eastern alum.
I never ran with him personally.
Oh, okay.
But I actually had run alongside Bill Rogers.
Bill Rogers.
Yep.
Excuse me.
And, Central Park was the focal point for a lot of high-profile races. And it was a great sport back then because for $2 or $3 you could get into a race and run
Sure.
with Jim Ryan for a little bit.
Wow, you
So
ran with him as well?
I actually was ahead of him. I passed him in a race.
Okay.
He was well past his prime.
Okay, okay. And then what's been your best time as far as running in the marathons?
I ran a 3-hour and 2-minute marathon.
That's moving.
That was moving. It wasn't quite good enough to get into Boston. That's kind of my bucket list item,
Okay.
is to qualify for Boston.
Now, can you tell me what it like when you're seriously training? What a day would be like for you as far as training and then coming to work or whatever?
Well, I think, when you're starting to get into shape, my concern has always been, if I'm out there running in the morning, do I have enough gas in the tank to come in and still do the best I can in the classroom?
Sure.
So I would say when I'm training, I can run, since I've moved out here, I've done runs as long as 8 miles.
Okay.
And once I'm in shape, I can usually get out there early in the morning and then give myself a little rest when I get home, take a shower, have some breakfast, and then come in and
So 8
be able
miles
to
a day.
stand on my 2 feet.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty good. Can you tell me a little bit about your wife's business? She used to work here, and then she still has her own
Yes.
business.
Jane runs her own personal training business called Jane's Way Fitness, which she established in New York, and then she was kind enough to come out with me
Okay.
and support me in my new position, and she had to basically start her business up from scratch. So she's actually done a wonderful job over the last couple of years, and her business is to go to people's homes and work with them in their homes, people
Okay.
that don't have the time or the inclination to go to a gym type situation, and
Okay.
this way they get private instruction,
Sure.
and Jane builds custom programs for them.
Wow. And is there a way
Personalized.
that people can get a hold of her? Or?
She has a phone number.
Okay.
It's 562-0346.
Sure.
Or her email is jane@janeswayfitness.com.
Okay. Great. And then what's the lasting impression you want to leave on the students as far as when they leave here besides getting a job?
Well, I want my graduates to know that they can always come back.
Okay.
That once they leave, they have my personal support program, technical questions, questions about running their business, even personal questions.
Sure.
So I'm still in touch with some of the students I've taught at other universities.
Really?
Oh,
So-
yeah.
so-
Facebook is a great way to keep in touch with them.
So they can just call you or text you or
Absolutely,
email
yes.
you and say, hey, how do you
They
do
need a
this or do that?
reference or pricing a job and things like that. So they get the lifetime support system.
Well, that's great.
Yep.
Today's been my guest has been Mr. Brad Hammond, the art director, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you, JT.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you. This has been another edition of Eastern Express. My name is JT Keith, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.